All right, Stevie's up. Get right into it. Stevie, I had his quarterback, which is Andrew Luck, ranked number one. Um, Running back core was Gordon from San Diego, T.J. Yeldon, and Isaiah Crowell. I have that running back core, the starters, ranked 11th. Receiver core, which is Randall Cobb and T.Y. Hilton. Now remember, this is about the draft. Jordy Nelson was hurt after the draft, so this is the draft only, but I have that receiver core, which is good, ranked 7th. And then his tight end was Michael Bennett, and I have Bennett ranked 5th. So let me kind of jump into the players here. So I have his starters as a B minus. So we'll start with Andrew Luck. Stevie and I went to the Chiefs and Rams game tonight, and we were talking, and I was saying I thought Luck's floor, I think he's a lock for 36 touchdowns, but I think his ceiling, he can reach, what did we talk? I think I said 50, which is, he mentioned that was Tom Brady and Randy Moss territory, but I don't think that's out of bounds. But that's his ceiling, so I'm not predicting that. That's just, someone like Alex Smith doesn't have a ceiling like that, so that's a pretty nice ceiling to have, and adds quite a bit of weight to his team as the second overall pick. So Andrew Luck is going to be great. So running back, this is where we run into problems. Again, his starters was the 11th ranked running backs. That's not good, and it's not so much that they're not good. So remember, all of these players, just because you're ranked 11th doesn't mean that I think they're going to be bad. It's just 11th compared to someone has to be ranked 11th. So it's not that I think they're bad. And these guys aren't bad. Melvin Gordon, T.J. Yeldon, Isaiah Crowell. First of all, I think Crowell is really underrated. That guy was really good last year. And Stevie was talking about Cleveland's offensive line, which I didn't realize was so good. I know they have Joe Thomas, but I don't know who else they have as far as the offensive line goes. But that's an underrated player who they're going to go with the hot hand. So I think of the opportunities that are there. I think all three of those guys, and Terrence West and Duke Johnson, are going to get their shot. I just think Corral is going to get the most playing. He'll end up with the most carries at the end of the year. T.J. Yeldon and Gordon. Let me start with Yeldon. Excuse me. I don't watch college football, so some of this I'm a little behind on the rookies because I don't watch college football. I just don't like it. But from what I understand, Yeldon was hurt quite a bit at where he went to school, where he went to Alabama. I think that's right. And apparently he was hurt all the time, and I think he's hurt now. I think Stevie even mentioned that tonight. So I don't know what to expect from Yeldon. They still have Toby Gerhart. They still have Storm Johnson. Someone else is in the mix down there as well. Bernard Pierce from Baltimore is down there, I believe. So it's not a lock that Yeldon, he's probably going to start. That's not a lock, and it's probably going to be a bit more of a committee, at least, until he proves himself the first, 3-4 games in the year. And then if someone's in that evaluation period, anything could happen. I don't know what that's going to be. So Yeldon is not that he's bad, he's just a question mark. Gordon is the same way. Gordon's situation is a little bit better. In the NFL, and we'll get to this when I talk about Sammy Watkins, in fantasy football in particular, it's not the skill of the player as much. I think their situation is much more important than even their own skill. So Gordon is in a really good situation in San Diego, where the opposite is true for someone like Sammy Watkins. So Gordon, I know he played at Wisconsin. I remember hearing his name. I know he was really good. I know the conversation between him and Todd Gurley was up in the air, which was a better running back. Apparently Gurley is better, but he was hurt. So, but Gordon, that guy, he could be, a top 8 running back. He could be this year's Jeremy Hill. Or he may be this year's Trent Richardson. I have no idea. So Gordon is not that he's bad. He's just a huge question mark. They really like Danny Woodhead. And Danny Woodhead, he's just a gritty little guy that he knows how to sniff out the end zone. So I'm a bit worried about his goal line work. Danny Woodhead can catch the ball, so I'm worried about Gordon's not his ability to catch the ball, because I don't know what that's like. But Woodhead has proven that he can, so I'm worried about Gordon's yardage through the air, and that's just going to hurt his production. So we'll see what happens. I have no idea. So big question marks with those running backs. That's why he's ranked 11th. Receivers, that's a different story. Now Cobb is, Cobb was great last year. I had Cobb on my team last year. Cobb was my MVP last year. So as far as someone who started the year and finished the year, he didn't get hurt, and he has a history of injuries. His touchdown rate was crazy. As far as his efficiency, I think he turned, oh gosh, I want to say 87 catches into 11 touchdowns. I think it was 10 touchdowns. And that's coming off a year where he was hurt, and that's great. Now with I can't really talk about with Nelson going down because that's after the fact, but during the draft we thought Nelson was going to be there, and I was expecting Cobb to dip just a little bit, still have a great year, more like 9 touchdowns, but about the same amount of receptions. Obviously, since the Jordy Nelson injury, that's going to go up. So Cobb is a great pick. Now T.Y. Hilton is a little different. A lot of people love T.Y. Hilton. I'm not one of those people, and I don't know anyone else that doesn't like him. I'm just not a T.Y. fan. I would prefer, I like those big receivers. I like, guys like Andre Johnson, who's on that team. I like Des Bryant. I like Demaryius Thomas. Those are my kind of guys. The smaller guys are fine. I'm just not a fan of them. Someone like Brandon Cooks is a little bit different, but T.Y. I don't think he's a one-trick pony with the long ball, but that's a big part of his game. So he's just not my favorite player, but I understand why other people do like him. Again, someone that's in a great situation, maybe the best situation in all of football, T.Y. Hilton. So and then Michael Bennett. Every time I do this, I forget the guy's name. Mark Trestman. Mark Trestman left Chicago, and he liked to use the tight end. So I don't know who the new OC is in Chicago, and I don't know how they like to use the tight end. So Bennett's a little bit of a question mark. That does factor into the grade just a little, but still ranked the 5th overall tight end, which is pretty good. So I thought as far as best pick, I thought his best pick was Randall Cobb. So at the end of the second round, I predicted Randall Cobb and A.J. Green would fall, and he'd have to choose between them, and that's what happened. And I thought he went the right way. And then the worst pick I felt was Sammy Watkins. Again, I don't think Watkins is a bad player whatsoever. I think he's crazy talented, but Sammy Watkins is in the worst situation in the NFL as far as someone that's talented that they should be producing more but won't. So I have Stevie's starters graded as a B-. I have his full team graded as a C-. So I just think that there's some suspect guys on the bench. Halou, I'm not expecting a lot from Halou. I know he can catch the ball. Devontae Freeman, I think Tevin Coleman is going to win that job, but maybe, I don't know. So that could be another question mark. Sammy Watkins, I don't like at all. I don't like Bolden. And Colston's okay. So it's just, it's not the greatest bench, and I do think your bench is crazy important. I know he's made moves since then, but this is only about the draft. So full team is C-. Let's see. I thought I think his record is still going to be 7-6. That's all because of mostly because of Andrew Luck, Randall Cobb, and T.Y. Hilton to help him. And then even if just one of those running backs pops and is a top 10 guy, ranked 8, 9, or 10, that's going to be a huge boost to that team. I think he is a playoff team. I think he's going to be seeded 8th, but he does make the playoffs at a 7-6 record. The strength of his team, obviously his quarterback, and obviously the weakness is running back, but also depth I think is an issue too. And his overall grade is a C+, making the playoffs. So that's Stevie, and Nick is on deck.